We are just 4 days out from the CNN presidential debate. And a new Rasmussen national poll reveals that former President Trump is now leading Biden by 10 points as President Biden hunkers down at Camp David to prepare for the first face-off of the year. Now, Maria spoke with former President Trump's son, Eric, about all of this yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. Listen to what he said.
It's pretty telling of a president who has to go to Camp David in the middle of the woods and lock himself effectively in a bunker for an 8-day period of time because his policies are so bad that he has to figure out some way to polish them up and try and sugarcoat them and try and frame them with all of his top advisors. And I can tell you my father is not doing that. My father is on the right side of these issues. And, 10 days or 8 days in the woods in Camp David to try and explain yourself to the American people. I'm not exactly sure if that's if that's a big, showing of confidence.
So, Liz, this poll by Rasmussen, 46% of likely voters back Trump and 36 support President Biden. Now, that's a five-way race. What do you make of this latest poll?
Yeah, obviously, these polls are going back and forth. We had one from Fox News last week that showed Biden in the lead. So that's a little bit of a head scratcher, right? Interestingly, when you have all 5 contestants in the race, then Biden does much better. So, look, poll is a snapshot. There's a lot of stuff happening. I do think the debate is being so hyped, but the reality is 60% of voters say they're going to watch. 30% say it might affect their vote. So, boy, is this important. And honestly, I don't think anyone really has a very good read on how it's going to turn out, Cheryl. I mean, is it going to be all presentation? Is it going to be all policy? Are Biden's 7 days in the woods, as Eric describes it, really going to make the difference here? I have no idea. I think, honestly, everyone's going to be tuning in. It's a little bit like the Indy 500, waiting for a car crash. Will that happen? Nobody knows.
There were too many this year, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the good point. But, let's talk about the money behind this, because, look, campaigns run on cash. And President Trump is winning when it comes to the cash race against President Biden. His latest fundraising wiped out President Biden's cash advantage. He raised $141 million just in the month of May. In particular, a lot of that coming from the verdict, by the way, post-trial. President Biden only raised $85 million. You've got this new Politico piece. It's titled Disappointment and Depression. Biden's biggest fundraisers watch their advantage vanish. And then there's a quote in there, which I thought was really telling. It said, financial reports show Trump outraising Biden in back-to-back months, hauling in huge sums after his felony convictions, erasing that long-standing financial edge. And just to put a finer point on this is that you can raise a lot of cash and you can get those satellite offices going in swing states. But if the messaging isn't there, especially with the young voters, Luke, what do you have?
Well, it also matters where it's coming from. Where is the donations coming from? Is it coming from the large corporations, the big donors, or the small donors? And when you take a look at this debate coming up, a lot of people care about who's going to talk to people's problems. Where I come from, you admit to your mistakes, and people don't want to hear Joe Biden talking about, oh, we lowered inflation from when I came in from 2% to 8%, then we lowered it back down to 4%. No one cares about that. They care about actually addressing the problems and addressing the mistakes. When it comes to the donations, just look at last week. Biden was at this fancy smancy event, raised $30 million. Trump raised $30 million less than 24 hours after the verdict. And a lot of that came from small donations. And over the past 20 or 30 years, where has the money been made? It's been made in technology. And Democrats are now making a lot of money from the technology CEOs and VPs donating to them. So the rich and wealthy party is now the Democratic Party. The Republican Party is now the party of the middle class. My grandma back growing up said they would never vote for a Democrat because it didn't represent the majority of people. That's changed. Also,
I bring these things up to you because of the generation of voter that you are. And there's a great piece by Alyssa Finley in the Wall Street Journal. It talks about young voters no longer getting a charge out of the Biden presidency. And one of the biggest issues besides housing and inflation is the fact that a lot of these kids were not kids, sorry, but the younger generation were told, let's go get EVs. It'll be great for the climate. Now they can't afford to keep those electric vehicles and they're selling them. It's really interesting. But real quick, I want to ask you something else, Liz, and I'm dying to get your opinion on this. There's a piece that talks about Biden's secret weapon in previous national debates may again be a factor during the showdown with Trump. It's on FoxNews.com. It talks a lot about are we discounting too much? Is the bar set so low for President Biden that when he comes out on that stage on Thursday night, even if he's showing a pulse, he's breathing, and he can speak in a clear sentence, that is going to hurt President Trump because it's going to make him look good?
Look, President Trump has actually talked about this. He does not want people expecting Biden to do a faceplant when he walks onto the stage, right? I mean, that's kind of what some people are expecting.
Sure.
But look, that's not going to happen. He is spending all this time getting ready and getting juiced or whatever, you know. And so I think there is a real risk for Republicans that Joe, like the State of the Union address, manages to eke out a reasonable, coherent position for 90 minutes. We'll see. I don't know. But that is a serious risk to President Trump.
We're going to be talking so much about the debate because, well, look, we're ready. And it is here. Here we go later this week.